All right, today we're tackling something that is absolutely fundamental in restorative dentistry, getting that perfect impression. We're going to zero in on one of the trickiest parts, how to get a sharp, crystal clear picture of the tooth's finish line. Let's jump in.
This really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The success of a beautiful crown or veneer literally hangs on this one thing, capturing a part of the tooth we can't even see properly. I'm talking about the margin, which is usually tucked just under the gum line. You get this wrong, and the entire restoration is basically a bust. So here's the thing. We're not just trying to get a copy of the tooth we prepared. The real goal is to capture a tiny bit of the unprepared tooth right below that finish line. Why? Because that's what lets the dental lab create a crown with a natural, seamless emergence profile, so it looks like it's growing right out of the gums, not like it's just, stuck on. To get that flawless look, we need a perfect impression. But what does that really mean when you're in the chair, with the patient waiting? Well, it all boils down to using the right stuff and, more importantly, the right technique. Okay, so let's talk materials. While the thick putty gives us the basic shape and structure, it's this runnier, light material that's the real hero. It's the one that has to flow into that tiny little moat between the tooth and the gum, the gingival sulcus, to grab all those critical fine details around our finish line. So how in the world do you get that light material into a space that's barely there? You've got to create some room. And that brings us to the star of our show today, the retraction cord. It's such a simple idea, but it's absolutely brilliant. It's basically a special string, often soaked in something to stop bleeding, that we carefully pack into that sulcus. It has two main jobs: physically push the gum tissue away from the tooth and stop any bleeding that would totally ruin the impression. So let's break down how this little cord works its magic. First, you get the physical pressure from the cord itself pushing the gums. Second, the hemostatic agent kicks in and handles any bleeding. Put those two together, and what do you get? A nice open space, a clear lateral retraction of the gums. That's our target. But listen, this magic trick takes time. The cord needs to sit in there for a good 5 to 7 minutes to really do its job. Rushing this step is a classic mistake, so you've got to be patient here. This is absolutely critical. Okay, the timer goes off. You've waited your 5, 6, 7 minutes. The tissue is pulled back beautifully. Now what? This moment right here, the exact point you decide to remove that cord, is the crucial difference between the two main impression techniques we're about to look at. Let's start with the first approach, the single-step method. As the name pretty much gives away, it's all about trying to get everything done in one clean shot. And here is the golden rule for this method. This is non-negotiable. The whole point of the cord was to make space, right? So to use that space, the cord has to be out of the way, letting that light material flow right into the gap you just created. So the workflow is super straightforward. You place the cord, you wait. Then you pull the cord out and, without skipping a beat, you immediately inject the light material all around the tooth. Right after that, you seat the tray with a putty. Everything sets up together, capturing the whole picture in a single step. But what if you're a fan of the two-step technique, where you take the putty impression first, act as a kind of custom tray, and then you follow up with a light body wash? Well, this introduces a really interesting timing problem. Exactly, that's the trap. If you follow the old sequence, remove the cord, take the putty impression, and then get ready for the light impression, you've just created a time gap. And in that gap, what happens? The gums start to spring right back into place, closing up that beautiful sulcus you worked so hard to open. And it happens fast. We're talking about that gum tissue rebounding in as little as 2 to 3 minutes. That's just not enough time to get everything done, which means the standard way of doing things just won't work here. So the technique gets a clever little tweak. You place the cord, and then, here's the genius move. You take the first putty impression while the cord is still in there. Now, the cord actually stops the putty from getting into the sulcus. Then, you take the tray out, and only now do you remove the retraction cord. You immediately inject the light material and pop the putty tray right back in. This way, the gum is at its absolute widest point at the exact moment the light material gets there. Okay, so let's boil this all down. Let's really focus on the one single most important variable that separates these two very effective techniques. And this slide just lays it out perfectly side by side. In the single-step method, the cord comes out before any impression material goes in. Simple. In the two-step method, it comes out in between the putty step
and the light step. It's such a small change in the sequence, but it makes all the difference in the world.
Because at the end of the day, both of these methods are just different roads leading to the same destination. They're both designed to achieve this one universal goal. No matter which steps you take, the light material has to get into that sulcus at the precise moment it is most open. That, right there, is the secret to a perfect finish line.
Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? From the curing time of an adhesive to tissue retraction like this, so much of what we do is a race against the clock. When it comes to getting that perfect impression, it really seems like timing isn't just one part of the equation. It might just be the whole thing.